Hi everyone, I'm Raja and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a book review for Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare, the first book in the Last Hour series of the Shadowhunter Chronicles. And I am really excited to review this beautiful chunk of a book with you. So, before I start off the review, I'd like to tell you that you do not have to be worried about the spoilers because I will let you know when they come. But the first entire part is a completely spoiler free review for Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. Now, let's get ahead and get started with the book review. So, the characters that are following in this story are actually offspring of a series called The Infernal Devices from the Shadowhunter Chronicles. So, I highly recommend that you read that series first before coming to this series. Now, let's begin with the synopsis. So, what has currently been happening in the story is that there had been no demon attacks for almost a decade, and suddenly they happen, and they happen in natural daylight. And that's the concern for this new team of shadow hunters, which are Cordelia and her friends. Cordelia is also very secretly in love with James Herondale, who in turn likes someone else. Actually, he has promised his hand to someone else. And now she and James and the entire squad have to fight these demons and also fight with their own inner darker secrets. Now, the thing about Cordelia is that she is this really young, bright, mature girl who also has a Parsi heritage, and she has her she has a lot of struggles within her family where her father has been put on trial for an expedition that went wrong, and her mother is ready to get her married off. And now Cordelia has to deal with all of these problems along with these new demon problems. And then we have James Herondale, our perpetually heartbroken kid who is 17 and is also in love with Grace Blackthorn, which is Tatiana's stepdaughter. And he just has so much guilt inside him, and it's mostly uh, induced by Grace Blackthorn, the girl he loves. James finds himself to be in love, a very, very painful aspect in his life, and he wants to be really devoted to the person he likes. But he also thinks that it's very taxing on him, and most of the time he just broods in one corner. And he also has a magical ability of walking or entering the shadow world, which is not exactly a spoiler, guys. It's not a spoiler because this was also mentioned in the Bane Chronicles if you have read all the side novellas in the Shadowhunter again, in the Shadowhunter Chronicle novellas. We also have Lucy Herondale, who is Jane's sister. She is, I think, 2 or 1 or 3 years younger to James, and she is actually one of my most favorite characters because she has really witty remarks and she instantly saves our squad from getting scolded by their parents, and she also makes extremely amazing uh, last minute, what do I say, actions which actually really save them from demons too. And she loves to write, and I love these tiny things that she really does, which is that she takes her writing material to enclave meetings because it might strike some inspiration in her. And these are small funny things that she does that really like makes me laugh out at times, and I really enjoyed her character in the story. I think she was really wise. She and Cordelia and Thomas are actually one of my favorite characters from the entire book because they are actually the most mature and wise characters in the entire book. I do hope to see other ones too grow into the character, but Lucy really is just amazing. And even she does these tiny things that are like such acts of kindness for other characters, for like how when she helps Thomas to uh, feel very useful and a part of the group when he has a tragedy in his family. So these small things are really the cherry on top of this entire series. Lucy is also actually one of the best written characters because she is this well rounded personality of a very relatable woman slash girl, depends on which age you're reading this in, where she has hobbies of what women generally have hobbies of, which is to write romance books or read them or imagine yourself in such a place and be there for your best friend, be part of the girl group, but also like really fight demons. And then there's Matthew Fairchild, who is Charlotte and Henry's second son. The first one is Charles, and the second one is Matthew. Matthew is also James Parabatai, and he, just like his best friend, is a brooding, heartbroken person. I just don't understand what's with Cassie writing all these broody guys, but there you go. But enjoyable. He also has a very good sense of humor. He's snarky most of the time, but he's also really kind, and boy is he intense. He also harbors dark secrets just like his best friend. Apparently, he has killed someone, and even I don't know who that is. And I really hope we find out. And one of the things that I was really annoyed with, not with Matthew, but generally with Cassie's little loophole, is I would like to know Matthew and Anna Lightwood's relationship with their respective parents because they lead this wild life, and how rich are they exactly that they are able to go to bars and hang out there and flirt with others and also lead a life of luxury? I mean, Matthew has so many goods, guys, and Anna has a lot of women. It's not a spoiler. I'll come to her. So I have suspicions that Matthew is either pansexual or bisexual because he likes both sexes, and I have seen him like some characters, and I have also seen him admire um, admire Magnus Payne. He is actually a big fan of Magnus Payne, but it could be a little more than that, saying that, like a celebrity crush kind of a thing. But he does give a few hints. Not that we've seen him actually like a man, but it's there are too many secrets. Just too many to figure this guy out, and I hope that we will be given something in the next few books. We also have Thomas Lightwood, who is Sophie Amundsen and Gideon Lightwood's son. He also has siblings that are Barbara Lightwood and Eugenia Lightwood. I believe he is the youngest. I am not very sure about the age differences. So, Thomas is a quiet, young, shy boy who doesn't talk much but is very well supported by his friends and is later considered one of the heroes for uh, well, helping out save a lot of lives in the story. And he his life changes when tragedy strikes his family, and he's willing to save other people other than someone that he has lost in his family. And he makes a great development in his own life with himself, where he is just like, I really have to do something so that other people don't suffer like me. And he really wants to help out with Christopher. And then there's Christopher Lightwood, who is Thomas's cousin. They're both actually really close as brothers. So Christopher really loves science and he spends most of his time in Henry's lab, who was also in the Infernal Devices, and he was a great contribution to the Shadowhunter army, where he made a lot of weapons that were really useful for winning the Clockwork War. And Christopher sees him as a godfather, and they have this amazing relationship of mentor and an older friend between Christopher and Henry, and I just just found that so amazing. And Christopher spends a lot of time making weapons that almost always explode, but he never gives up, and that's one of the greatest qualities that he has. And he ends up being just as great as Henry in this book, where he saves a lot of lives. So we finally have Anna Lightwood, who is Christopher's sister, and I really think that she's quite rich enough to support herself doing this because she buys all these fancy clothes and wears gentlemen's clothes, and she is lesbian and she is known to be flirtatious with women and also known to break their hearts. But I don't think she does that often. She's actually a really sweet person. So when she meets Cordelia for the first time, she invites her to tea, and I just love that Anna has this really good judge of character, and she can see that Cordelia has this really strong personality with a headstrong view of what she thinks is the correct thing to do, how she should help save her family or her friends, and Anna like really throws these questions at Cordelia about being a hero or wanting to be a victim or someone to be saved, and I just like that conversation that they both had. I have a problem again, like I said before, even with Matthew, that we don't get to know much about her, and that doesn't leave me a lot to describe her in what I've seen in her so far, because all I can show you is what Cassie has told me through characters who've spoken about Anna with other people. I really liked Anna, but I don't think I got to know her about her much. Like, we didn't actually get a perspective from her, and that's actually one of the things that I was really annoyed about in Cassie Clare's writing. So Alistair Carstairs goes off to the Shadowhunter Academy, and he comes back a little changed, a little more stoic and stern. And Cordelia is really bothered by this. And Alistair has his own secrets and his own responsibilities that he feels burdened by when he comes back to find what has happened in his family, and now it's his responsibility to restore the dignity. And Cordelia is actually also doing the same thing, they're just doing it so differently, where Cordelia is a little more open compared to Alistair, where he feels like he cannot fail as the gentleman of the family, and also as a brother, as an older brother, to protect Cordelia. And their relationship, um, it kind of grows throughout the story. So you see him opening up by the end, but in the beginning it's all really stern, but he's also like really there for her. They have a misunderstanding, but overall it's just such a great characterization of Alistair. So let's get to an overall judgment of what I liked and didn't like in the story and what I made out of it. So the most annoying character from of this story is Grace Blackthorn, Tatiana's stepdaughter, and she is actually Jane's love interest, and she has this weird, manipulative, or compelling ability to control James and make him think that he is in love with her. And she's the most untrustworthy character. She even has an encounter with Matthew where she kind of threatens him, that she says this to James or other friends, he would be in trouble. So I didn't like the concept of having this other woman who was evil, because I don't think we needed that, and I did not expect that from Cassandra Clare, and that's one of the disappointments that I've had from this book. The other disappointment is that I have had a really difficult time trying to understand who is related to who. It's a huge cast of characters, and even though we are used to Cassie having a huge cast of characters, this is a really huge cast of characters, and it's been a struggle. So, one of the first things that really annoyed me is the misleading title of the book, which is Chain of Gold, which I don't think it is, or are they talking about a different chain? Because I know exactly what the conversation here is about, since I'm making it and I've read the book. But that's one of the first things that has really confused me. So the story sends a really good message about bloodlines and how family relationships can be a little burdening, and it discusses uh, how do I explain this? Yeah. So it discusses that no matter how evil your bloodline and your ancestors can be, you do not have to follow into the same footsteps, and you do not have to claim any certain evil thoughts or habits that you have inherited from them, or even not inherited, but some people kind of accuse you of saying that you're that evil guy's descendant and you must be exactly like them. So that's kind of the moral of this story, even though Cassie doesn't fully go with morals, but she also does. She has all these little secrets of teaching lessons, and that's one of the best reasons why I read her books. And we get a bloodline message in this one. So I cannot reveal much about, or no, I was not going to make a Shakespeare reference. I just wanted to say that I will not reveal anything about the villain, because it would just kind of spill the beans about the entire plot of the book. But just know that they're evil and they want to end the Shadowhunters because they just want to take over everything, like every villain does. But the thing about over here is that this this descendants of Cassie having villains is kind of going down the drain. I used to enjoy her other villains from the Dark Artifices, and it's the plot of that book is kind of similar to this, if you know what I mean. If you've read that book, which is the Queen of Air and Darkness, and like the entire Dark Artifices trilogy, you will know what I'm talking about, and that kind of plot is very similarly done here, just a lot more darker, and I did not like it so much. So I like how Cassandra Clare shows this sense of humor of James that he has inherited from his father Will. They kind of share a similar sense of humor, and that's really a very sweet moment that they share. That, like, there's this one point where there's an engagement party going on, and uh, Charles from Charles, that is Matthew's brother, he's kind of an annoying character in the book, and I did not expect that. And he is drunk, and he's talking about uh, the couple's uh, well-being and everything, but kind of really including himself and giving himself the credit for bringing them together or knowing them in the first place. And Will makes this comment, which is very similar to James, and I really can't explain this without spoiling it. But I think if you really like, if you've read the book or if you read the book, you'll know exactly what I mean. It's almost in the ending. So that was like a really sweet and funny moment that happens in the book, and I really like that. It's a very real way of showing the resemblance, the bloodline relationship between both of them. So I'm really sorry about ending this video here for today. It's turning out to be a really long video, and I don't think that everyone has the patience to sit through it. So I'm going to divide this video into two videos per week. I'll try uploading a little earlier if it's possible, but today I'll end this review here, and it's not really an ending. I'm just gonna cut it here for today, and I will upload again next week when I shoot. Uh, it will again include some of the non-spoilers, and then I will go on to the spoiler section in the same review. And of course, the editing me will let you know when that happens. But for now, thank you very much and goodbye.